We are live. This is the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Bitcoin to 35K, Ethereum to 3,500. Sound too good to be true? It's not. Want the details? Stay right here. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live, and if the content works for you, smash the like button. Let's welcome who's on the stream here. I need a nap first on the stream. Morning from Australia, Mike Rocks. Sinister Klaus is here. Rugby Performance Labs. Kentucky in the house. Augusta, Georgia. Rave Song Records likes the daily updates. We appreciate that. GF, Kenneth Phillips from South Dakota. Aiken with Notorious Love. Top Semper Fidelis is here. Welcome. We appreciate you. Jazz Gill is here. Australia again. Quiet Dawn. Welcome to the market update. Caleb from North Carolina. Jersey is back. Robert. Right? Jashim is here. Guessing on that 3 p.m. Central Time. Yes, we are leaning heavily towards 3 p.m. Central for a permanent time. Joan of America in the house. Howdy. Visture is here. Eric. Bridget's Fire. Mr. Moby Dick from Belgium. Our friends from Europe. AN. Hello. Hello. We're going to do news. The market's going up. I got 3 green shirts. I got to buy more. I'm thinking this thing is going to melt up so hard that it's going to be a reverse crash. This really is the reverse of sell in May and go away from last year. This is like, get out of the way, because you're going to find out why they call bull markets, because of the stampeding nature of the animal. Bears claw you, and they're not very nice. And you've lived through a bear market, so you know. Bull markets, you know, bulls are huge animals, and when they stampede, if you've ever seen the Running with the Bulls, it can be quite a powerful experience. Let's get into it. Saudi Arabia is open to discuss non-dollar oil settlement trades. Interesting that people who think the dollar is going up forever would ignore the Saudis, the Russians, and all these people who are just like blatantly defying the logic that the dollar is the permanent solution. The dollar is going up forever, et cetera, et cetera. Guess what, people? That's not going to happen. It's not. Now, let's switch over into legacy. The steep plunge in used car prices, what does it mean? What does it mean? It means people are defaulting on their debt. People are not buying cars because interest rates are too high, and the Fed is effing done. One of the things I've been arguing along with the top and the dollar, the Fed is done. Now, let me define done. So they can't come out and say, well, gee, I guess we over-tightened. Sorry, we'll stop now. Crypto's going to price that in, but that's probably not how it's going to work. They're going to have to turn the aircraft carrier slowly, but they're done. I mean, Goldman yesterday on their earnings, like $1 billion for reserves on credit card losses. When I was at Goldman in 2008, the company made money betting against over-leveraged consumers. Now they're getting killed by it. Terrible. Terrible what's going on, and it's the Fed's fault, and they're done. The need for alternative money is here. It's like right in front of your face, like the steep plunge in U.S. car prices. Tracking used car prices is enough to give anyone whiplash, meaning used car prices were parabolic. Now they've collapsed. Housing is the same way. I saw a graphic this morning that said 45% of household income is now required to pay a mortgage. Who's the marginal buyer of a house with that statistic? Housing prices have to go down 40 or 50%. Now, it may be a gradual 40, 50%, not a crash like 08. But car prices, house prices, they got nowhere to go but down. Nowhere to go but down. Interesting story about the Secret Service. Once upon a time, I actually went through an 18-month application to become a Secret Service agent. I made it to like the finals of the selection process, and I didn't get selected to go to boot camp. What I can say about this is I feel sorry for any agent standing at a door willing to get shot to protect somebody who now winds up in a headline over some kind of gotcha moment. This is one of these times where I'm going to say, you know what? When I look at this, this is the case for crypto. Because if this is what they're doing at the highest levels of government, if they're hanging out to dry or making agents there to protect people a headline for political purposes, it's time for crypto. It's time to get off the fiat elevator and go somewhere else and vote with our feet. Okay, we're going to switch over to charts. I'm going to switch over to PowerPoint while we welcome more people who have joined on the stream. By the way, I do want to thank everybody. We are consistently getting 1,000 views on this live stream. Love it. Love it. That's right. Nato is here. Jashim is here. Metabice, welcome. Lord Junta. Okay. Jan is here. When retrace. Okay. February. Okay. Crypto Predator here from Romania. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to all our friends here for crypto, especially Grandpa Rock. I like that. Okay. I'm diving in here. PowerPoint. Let's go. Not investment advice. Let's talk about Ethereum. One of the things you get in bull markets is breakouts lead to more breakouts. So if you have a bull market in certain types of bonds or certain types of stocks, like one group will break out or one index will break out, and that'll lead to other indexes breaking out. Now, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. This is a diamond formation. Sometimes in crypto, these formations can be bearish. They can be. In this particular case, I think this formation is a warning that Ethereum is going to take off massively once Bitcoin has made its move to 24, 29, or 32. Said differently, if Bitcoin makes a move to 32 to 32K or even 29K, Ethereum could outperform and wind up at 3,500. Think I'm crazy? I got the charts to show it. In this case, you have a diamond in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Whichever direction Ethereum versus Bitcoin breaks out of, so if it breaks out of the top, retest the, if it breaks out this way, retest the line and then goes, you could have a monster move in Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the upside. Now, conversely, for Bitcoin maximalists, if there's a breakdown on the downside, you could see massive outperformance in Bitcoin. I'm okay either way. Ethereum and Bitcoin, in my mind, are going to go up or have substantial upside. The only question is who leads. If you look at this, Ethereum has a shot at leading. Now, let's look at Ethereum on a tactical basis. This is hidden pivot work on an 89-minute chart. And what do we see? Well, we have 1603 is a resistance level. So it's been probing that resistance level a couple times. I got a new term we're going to use today. Got it from my friend Noah, who I used to work with when I worked with Charlie Shrem and Crypto IQ. He calls it a probe, and I'm calling it probe and go. So what the market's done recently on upside breakouts is it'll find resistance, it'll go up, test it, sellers will come in and get out, right? People selling too early or people doing tax loss selling or whatever. And then when those people are done and it doesn't dip, that's when the epic breakout happens. So if you got Ethereum at 1603, this thing's going to turn around, take out 1603, and the hidden pivot target on the upside is 1896. Okay. Wrong again. Welcome. You're not late. You're right on time. Moon Sector 7 with the notorious love. Zen Anon. Okay. Wrong again. I will do Solana. I will write that down. But let me ask you something. If Ethereum's at 1900, where do you think Solana is? Now, check this out. In DeMark work, I get an Elliot Wave tool that helps me just figure out where things are. Like, where are we in a move? Did we start? Did we finish? Are we just starting a new move? Are we ending an old one? When you end an old one, that's a 5-wave. Okay, and this giant down trade in Ethereum that started at 3,500 and crashed all the way down to 800 off Celsius, that was a 5-wave. That was the give up trade. Now, Ethereum's been pretty choppy, but the thing that's interesting about Ethereum and its Elliott wave count is that the previous fourth, aka the place where the give up trade started from, is all the way up at 3,500. Now, in a normal market, even if it's a bear market, it is completely logical to retest the high of the previous fourth or unwind the give up trade. So how many people in crypto are talking about Ethereum going to 3,500? Not that many. How many people think Ethereum could go there quickly? I mean, it went straight down and then it's basing just like it did in 2019. And the bigger the base, the higher in the space. 3,500 Ethereum would just kill people. I mean, can you imagine wanting to look at NFTs and thinking that the NFTs were too expensive because ETH at 1,600 was too expensive because you didn't buy it at the absolute low? And I'm going to wait to buy the dip that never comes. The dip comes when you're at 2,700 or 3,500. Go back to this. You go, how can Ethereum do better versus Bitcoin? In other words, what would happen if Bitcoin exploded and Ethereum just went nuts? This chart hints at that type of move. Stay tuned for more details. Back to Bitcoin. This looks like bird on a wire. These are Fibonacci speed resistance lines. Bitcoin just squeaks right through, does a little rally, comes back and retests it. And now it's a bird on a wire. It's a bird on a wire getting ready to fly to 28K. What's there to stop it? Nothing. This is a probe and go, right? This was the last time around 17K where Bitcoin rushed up, tested resistance from this huge down candle, came off, it didn't dip, and it was gone. This was back in January when everybody was focusing on FTX FUD, and I'm pounding the table that it's time to return to price. Now everybody's looking for the dip, and I'm looking for the melt up, right? In other words, this level may be the level that you wind up getting Bitcoin at, but it may go all the way up and come all the way back down, maybe. Or you may never see sub 20 Bitcoin again. Or if you do see sub 20 Bitcoin again, it'll be a black swan. But in the meantime, everybody's looking for cheap Bitcoin. The reality is you had cheap Bitcoin for 6 months. This again feels like not only bird on a wire, but probe and go, right? In other words, they've been poking around this 21 level long enough. They'll go up, they'll test it, they'll test it, they'll test it. Okay. Okay. Here is the bigger picture on Bitcoin. I do want to look at the previous fourth work in Bitcoin during the live TA session. Let me give it to you in 3 words. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning. Winter is over. Winter is over. If I'm wrong about that, as they say in Legacy from long ago, come get me. Come get me. Prove me wrong. Winter is over. Why? The last cycle was December 2018 to November 2021 if you go by Fibonacci analysis. I've been practicing condensing this. So in past, you have 1-year crypto winters using this methodology. So the 1-year crypto winter was the top in Bitcoin at this Gann line in 2021. And the bottom was FTX during the fourth quarter of last year, which conveniently occurred just below a major Gann line, and now it's going the other way. And I put in fib circle analysis to try to give me some sense of time along with the Gann structure. And as you can see, what was resistance in 2021, the same structure was support in 2022. And the next Gann line is at 32K. Can Bitcoin go to 32K? Yes. Can Bitcoin go up in 5 and 10% increments like it used to? Yes. People have gotten too used to Bitcoin doing nothing. I mean, once upon a time, people got too used to Bitcoin going crazy, and Bitcoin basically died. You also have to consider, as you look at this chart, the fact that the GBTC Grayscale Bitcoin Trust in the equity market that owns 600,000 Bitcoin, which was the thing that could blow up the whole market, or could have last year, may now wind up being saved. That 600,000 Bitcoin, the ownership of all that Bitcoin and that trust may be taken over by an institutional investor. This was in Bitcoin Pro magazine. Very interesting to see how go check GBTC on your screen. We'll look at it in live TA. Look at the way that thing is trading and tell me that Bitcoin cannot go to 32K. Pax Gold. I have not forgotten about gold. The market is alternating. First, gold goes up. Gold is currently in pause mode. Bitcoin is the next ramp. After the Bitcoin ramp to 30K, gold may dip. You grab gold. See Pax Gold here on a weekly chart. You get a 9 top. You get a pullback. Okay. And then if that pullback holds and dip buyers show up, gold follows. The story of Saudi Arabia and the story of the dollar is simple. People are going to pay for commodities in gold. People are going to pay for commodities in currencies other than the US dollar. And people are going to pay for water, that's BARC, in a gold-themed token, which is GLDN. Right? So it's small cap and macro are doing the same thing. You need Bitcoin, you need gold, you need water. They turned off the taps in Arizona. Okay, looking at Ethereum, 1639 looks like the minimum target if we're talking about tactical trading. Now, let's go back to Web3. NEAR. Remember this? This was hot shot. This was hot stuff at 20. Now, at $2, no one likes it. Except you got a 13 bottom down here. You got massive weekly DeMark support at $1.50. And if you look at this, yeah, it's off of its low, but you could have 4 or 5 more up weeks. This could wind up at $5.80. Somebody was asking me about Solana, right? This stuff could go up massively, right? Massively. Okay. Now, somebody's asking, let's just go for some questions. Okay. Quiet Dawn says, doesn't legacy worry you? Yeah, it does. And the way you're trading the legacy worry is to buy crypto now, not investment advice. Take some profits at the end of February. And then get ready for a summer rally and then get out of the way of the legacy problem in October or September. Okay. Wrong again says the charts are making strange flags, bullish or bearish. I say bullish because this sideways action is reflective of the fact that it doesn't dip. It just doesn't dip at all. Okay. Somebody's asking to check Rose. Okay. I see AAVE, and I got to remember Solana for live TA. So if you're interested in particular coins, please feel free to let us know, and don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Stay on the stream. Okay, let's see if we got breaking news here. See, I love this. This is the other thing I've been talking about. Congress's FTX problem. Didn't share. Congress's FTX problem. I love this. This you should frame. Congress's FTX problem. 1 in 3 members got cash from the crypto exchange boss. So all these anti-crypto people were getting money from FTX. So here's a question. Who in the government is going to tell you that Bitcoin is no good? Gensler? Congress was taking money from FTX? The SEC? No, nobody at the SEC or CFTC was taking money or dinners or F1 tickets or whatever. Right. Anti-crypto people are going to have to shut their mouth for 6 to 9 months. So everyone says, oh my God, I can't buy crypto because regulation is coming, right? Remember after FTX, like, oh, regulation is coming. Regulation is inevitable. Yeah, maybe. But all the people who are going to do the regulating at the moment are in deep shit. They're in deep shit. Because they're going to follow the money on FTX and they're going to have their own problems. So good luck coming down on Uniswap. Good luck coming down on Ethereum. Good luck with all this. These guys have lost their credibility, which is why I'm arguing for a return to price. Now, some people are like, hey, this Bitcoin thing may be the real deal. It is, because we're returning to price. All right, let's go to live TA. Okay, so here's GBTC. Just wanted to throw this out there. What has GBTC done? It's unwound the FTX give up trade, which makes me want to come over here. Speaking of unwinding give up trades, and I want to make a point about something in Elliot using the Bitcoin chart. So when we look at Bitcoin, the give up trade started at exactly 21,480. The way Elliott theory works is if you're in a bear trend, you'll approach the previous fourth, but you won't go through it. You'll pull up short and you'll go down. But if you take it out by so much as a tick, it's going to go through. Now, Bitcoin has barely taken it out. I guess it depends on where you look at it. But this is what I call probe and go, right? There's a 9 top. You get a pause. Then you can have up to 13 more up days. Right now, it's on a 9. You're going to have 4 or 5 days where Bitcoin is going to blow through this and head for the next resistance point at 25. That's what I think. Right? Obviously not investing advice, but you get in the way of this, especially since it's consolidating just below resistance. And I think this thing is just going to smoke and shock people. Just going to shock people. Bull Runner is here. Welcome. Iron Alien, Steve J. Right? Appreciate the emojis. Appreciate the love. Pancakes and peanut butter in the house. Welcome. Right? Okay. Boz is asking for ICP. Oliver wants to talk about Gala. Man, I tell you what, I got to rewind some of these streams. Somebody came in and asked about Gala, and I did some like DeMark 5-wave absolute total bottom in done work on that. Wow. I mean, that stuff smoked to the upside. Let's go to Metaverse for just a quick second. I mean, would you look at Decentraland? I mean, this is up only. And of course, I said at the beginning, everyone's forgotten about Web3. This was a definitive 5-wave end right there. That's 5-wave as in over. Decentraland goes back, takes out the previous 4th. Yes, it is overbought. Yes, you got a lot of gratification. And yes, Decentraland is like, this is the Decentraland chart for anybody who thinks it's too expensive. Right. It's just very hard to get involved. It's very hard to get involved. Now, regarding Sandbox, Decentraland went and attacked its previous 4th, but Sandbox's previous 4th is all the way up at $1. And currently Sandbox is sitting at 71 cents. And again, is this probe and go? Right? They can't even really do the probe. They're like pulling up short of 85 cents. There is way more upside here. Like way more. Okay, let's go to Avalanche. I have a feeling we're going to be running through the big layer ones on a regular basis. Okay, Avalanche. Previous 4th, $20. Everybody's selling Avalanche here because this is where the FTX give up trade started from in November, mostly. Okay. 20.6 upside in Avalanche. And this is just like your basic correction. Like when I say previous 4th, that just means unwind the give up trade. It doesn't even necessarily mean new massive bull market, although I think that is happening. But from a trading point of view, we haven't gotten through the basic part of the correction yet, in my opinion, because the attack of the previous 4th, which I can just blow up the number so you can see the 4, right? There's the previous 4th wave at $20, $20.61. Now, let's take a look at Solana. That picture may be different. Or not. Let me see. No, actually, it's not. So I made this joke a while back, and nobody took me seriously, that the previous 4th in Solana was at $45. Let me say that again. The previous 4th in Solana is at $45. Right now, Solana has made a 9 top and is doing a classic quiet pause before this thing just resumes. Like, I mean, could you imagine Bitcoin gapping to 30K and then having all these altcoins rally for 2 months straight? Or even 30 days straight? 2 months. We don't need 2 months. We need 30 days the way some of this stuff is trading. And everyone's like, oh, I missed it at 9. I missed it at 20. You haven't missed anything, in my opinion. Now, you have to take appropriate risk. You have to know that when you're buying it, when it's up, it can dip in your face. I get it. But the new dip is doing nothing. Like, this is the thing about bull markets that people need to, they need to reprogram their heads. Like in bear markets, sitting around doing nothing is like, oh my God, you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. But in bull markets, it means there's no downtick. That means the marginal buyer is out there waiting, and there's no marginal seller to help him out. So he's got to bid up prices, right? He's got to bid up prices. Okay. Someone's asking about Dusk, FTM. I'm going to get them all. Okay. MATIC. Okay. Let's do MATIC because that's a frequently requested coin. Okay, so the DeMark work on MATIC has actually been in an odd uptrend for a while. So one of the things that's funny about MATIC is that the DeMark structure kind of draws this in a bullish way. This is the first part, the second part, the third part, the fourth part, and there could be a final climactic up move in MATIC. So this is very different from anything we've been talking about so far. If I had a guess, I'm thinking MATIC can go to $1.65. Let's look at a weekly chart. Okay, MATIC is being held back by this moving average. Pretty important looking DeMark moving average. All these coins, no matter how you draw them, have a similar theme, is that they're about to explode. Now, again, on MATIC, the 13 bottom was on December 26th. This is the third up week in MATIC. The 13 bottom has been confirmed. When you're on a 2 like this, can you imagine 7 more up weeks? Like 8 more up weeks if we include this week. So you might say, Bill, what's the chart say about MATIC? I said 8 more up weeks possible. $1.50, I would think minimum. That's what's here. That's this point, $1.50. Okay, so what's the buy signal in MATIC? Okay, so this is where bull markets get difficult. At this point, it's tough to get trade location. If we go to a 90-minute MATIC chart, this is what we're noticing, right? Every time this thing gaps down like this and looks like it's going to go to hell in a handbasket, those are the buying opportunities. The sharp, ugly dips that make ugly candlesticks. So when you see sharp, ugly candlesticks between now and the time Bitcoin gets to 32K, those are the dips. Then when it gets to 32K, everyone's like, oh my God, it's going to 40. And that's when you get the nasty dip. Or maybe it's 29K, right? After you get like multiple God candles, everybody's going to give up on buying the dip. They're going to get sucked in at 32K. Then it gets dropped. We are far away from that. You know, when it's going up, everybody wants it to go down so they can buy. It never works. When it's going down, everyone wants it to go up so they can get out. That never works. When you see this quiet sideways action, yeah, you might get a wick down, but if you do, that's your chance. Okay, Algorand. Hey, I notice BitBoy is very much into this. You know, Wall Street was very into this as a layer 1. So you definitely have the BitBoy effect going on here, right? It's taken out DeMark resistance around $23. And notice how it just sits on that old resistance point, right? The ceiling is now the floor. Okay. And this thing was so destroyed. I mean, the venture capitalists, all these guys sold this stuff. That they sold this thing down to 16 cents. Right. Here's the weekly chart again. So this will impress upon you where we are, that it's early days. You got a 13 bottom. You got a 9 bottom. Right? You got this thing knifing through, you know, knifing up for only the second up week, confirming these DeMark signals. You know, you get through 27 cents in Algorand, the next level I got's 45 cents. Right? So, yeah, it looks like it's up a lot. It looks like you missed it. You missed what? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you redraw this thing, okay, yeah, this is all bunched up. Let's try weekly to unbunch it up. What exactly have you missed? Right? This thing is back where it started from in November of 2020. You've missed nothing. And if Algorand supports an important function like security tokens, next cycle, which has started quietly, will be driven by reality and practicality. Practicality and reality. Security tokens. Commodities on the blockchain. My friends and employer. GLDN. Bark. Water. Commodities. Security tokens. Metaverse. Web3. Remember that? Please hit the like button out there. Do it. Okay. Fantom Everyone hated on this too. God, look at this, right? I mean, what do you got? 2 up weeks and everybody's like, I can't do it. Okay, I mean, this looks like, oh God, wow, I missed it. Gee, I better sell everything. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, right? Where's the previous fourth? Can I even find it? Yeah, the previous fourth in Fantom is at $1.67. So in an organic world, Fantom should retest $1.67. Now, can it do it right this second? I don't know. Could it do it by the end of August? In theory, absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, this is one of the, I mean, I thought the Solana previous fourth thing was crazy. This is even crazier. I mean, this can happen, right? D-Jack is here. Welcome. Okay, wrong again, talking about Optimism. Yeah, I mean, Optimism has a clear fundamental case. Let me just make sure I got the right chart here when I'm doing it. Okay, pulling up Optimism on TradingView. Okay, so we're at $1.77. So I have it right here on DeMark. There's always a bull market somewhere. Now, you have to be careful with this because people may rotate out of stuff like this that's near its high, like they're doing with Cosmos, and rotate into other things. Or, F it, this thing's just going to take off and explode, right? I mean, this thing unwound its entire give-up trade going back to August, and most cryptos have not done that. So this is definitely telling you what's going to happen in the rest of crypto. And of course, if you're long it, well, you know, I'm not going to tell you to get off the train, but if you made a bunch of money in this, maybe allocating it somewhere else might make sense, right? BitBoy AI saw me on the Crypto Love episode. Appreciate that. Love is hands down one of my favorite guys in crypto. Going away. Okay, AAVE. Previous fourth. 296. 296. Now, everybody is selling in front of a DeMark resistance point at 93, which is understandable. I mean, it's resistance, right? The last time they tried to go through this level and failed, it was a false breakout, and SBF just killed crypto, supposedly. Or we just had a massive liquidation event and everybody who hated crypto got exposed. So everyone's headed for the door in AAVE. Good. In other words, everyone's like, oh, well, when do we get in? Let me show you. This is when you get in, right? So you get, this is 90-minute. You get maybe a 5-wave top. You get a blow off through resistance. And then when it comes off, all you got to do is find support. And that is your next entry, not investment advice. It's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. So if you get a dip and you buy it and you get gratification on it, you're proving to yourself, I love that you listen to me. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, when I click off the air, it's your book. So when you see, hey, I bought a dip. Whoa, I bought a dip and I made money. You just proved it to yourself. The best thing you can do at the start of a bull market is prove to yourself that it's a bull market. Somebody write that down and tweet it out, right? ICP, another epic big BitBoy play. Okay, so there's the BitBoy effect coming off the low. So you have a 13 bottom, right? You have the DeMark D-Wave 0 signal, which means downtrend over. And then you've got ICP going the other way, and there could be 7 more up weeks. 7 more up weeks. Next target, 825. So you got BitBoy Nation piling into this and no resistance. Montreal is in the house, looking for some guidance on Audius. Again, another altcoin given up for dead. There was support at 13 cents. The next level could be 38. Let's check where the previous fourth is, because that's kind of like the show, the theme of the show. 26 cents. So naturally it's up and people take profits, but why? It hasn't fully filled in the FTX debacle yet. And you know what? I understand what you're saying. You're going to look at these candles and you're going to go, oh, I can't. This looks like shit. You know, it goes up, it comes off, right? They try to rally it, and then it's a red candle, right? And then today they tried to rally it again, and it can't get going, and I'm worried. And all right. Everyone's worried until somebody flinches and go, I'm market buying this. Okay, wrong again. Said I added Polkadot and made money. Talking about Polkadot. A lot of people talking about Cosmos. I have no idea why no one's talking about Polkadot. I mean, Polkadot, you could have 4 or 5 more big up days. Resistance in Polkadot, like you don't even start talking about, like Polkadot's going to go, or actually, it is likely Polkadot goes to $7.40 as its minimum upside target. Then, if and when Polkadot breaks through $7.42, it can go higher than that. But the minimum upside target is $7.42. Mr. Moby Dick says selling and reallocating, trend hopping. Wow, sounds like a live stream title. Sounds like a live stream title. Okay, let's go to Anchor. So as you can see, everyone is selling. Seriously, it goes up and it's met with nothing but sellers. Okay, the previous fourth is all the way up at 5 cents. Can Anchor Protocol get to 5 cents? Well, Anchor Protocol used to be at 22 cents. And if you say, can it get to 5 cents? You'd be like, well, no. Like, well, it looks like a bird on a wire getting ready to fly these DeMark-based moving averages. So I would say if you've been suffering with Anchor, unless Anchor has fundamental problems, which it could, but unless Anchor's got serious fundamental problems and you haven't given up yet, why would you do that now? Right? I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to trade your book, but what I am telling you is that if this thing turns around, the only way you're ever going to know if your altcoin is what you thought it was when you bought it is to see how it does when Bitcoin flies to 30K. Okay, Filecoin, nifty looking, 13 bottom, 9 bottom, right? Breaking up through the DeMark moving average. Previous fourth, 617. Odd structure here, 617. Right? They're going to attack the start of all the give up trades. Kent here from Sweden. Welcome. Welcome to our friends from the US Asia, Australia, and Europe. Okay, John G, always respecting the opposite view. Time to dump. Huge crash coming to 19K. Very possible. Guessing if you saw 19K, it would be on some sort of legacy-based debacle. My guess is if there's going to be a sharp down trade, crypto's got to go much higher first before you get that down trade. That's what I'm assuming right now. You got to get to those previous fourths. Okay, Rose. Okay, don't see anything on the daily chart. I do. Wait. So Rose is currently taking out its previous fourth. It's sitting there. It's taking it out, which means the uptrend can continue. But, you know, everybody knows that this is where the give up trade started from, and they're all selling. So let them sell. Let them sell. Right? In other words, if it's selling and it's not going down, that tells you something. The DeMark work shows 6 or 7 more up days possible. So is this comfortable? Let's go back to bull markets. Bull markets are not easier than bear markets. They're easier because crypto, if you're using centralized exchanges and you're not using derivatives in houses of cards like FTX, you know, it's easier because it's kind of like long only for retail. But if they sell and it doesn't go down, what's it going to do? Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. Aruna is back. Welcome. Jazz Gill is here. Any thoughts on Davos manipulation on crypto market? Here's what they're going to try to tell you at Davos. They're going to try to tell you that the crypto market blew itself up and that we need central bank digital currencies, which is the only way banks are ever going to be able to play in crypto. There's 2 ways banks play in crypto. They got to take over whatever crypto entities are out there, like Grayscale, Coinbase. They got to buy up everything that's usable and solvent, or they have to suck up to the central bank and, you know, cater to this CBDC thing, which a lot of people were against. I wasn't a CBDC hater because I figured it would help onboard people into crypto. Now, after FTX, I'm like, no, because they want CBDCs to replace crypto and, of course, control your life, take your money when they want to, and all the stuff that you would assume governments would do when they can just reach into your wallet and take stuff, right? Not doing CBDCs. They're going to try to tell you that at Davos. Meanwhile, I bet everybody at Davos is like, yeah, we better get all our Bitcoin in now. Now, what would really be a shocker if somebody stepped up to the mic at Davos and said, we're sick of the dollar, we're doing crypto. Because one of the things we have not talked about is how does Bitcoin get to 30K? We haven't talked about that. It takes one person other than Michael Saylor to come out and say, I've just embraced Bitcoin. Ray Dalio, some hedge fund, an investment bank, like David Solomon at Goldman, he is in trouble. It is embarrassing that the institutional investment bank of institutional investment banks just lost $1 billion on a credit card to buy Apple computers. That's embarrassing. These guys, if they got to pivot, they got to pivot towards crypto, and they better do it quickly. So if somebody big comes out and says, yeah, we're doing Bitcoin at 20-something K, because think about it. To an equity market investor, let's just do it with the GBTC chart for laughs. Like to an equity market investor, GBTC was at 55. It's now at 11. This makes Grayscale an obvious takeover target because the Bitcoin held in this trust trades at a 40% discount to Bitcoin in the market. So this is the takeover target. So at Davos, yeah, they could say stupid stuff about CBDCs, which I'm going to personally ignore, and so will the market. But I actually think there's gap risk that somebody comes out and says, yeah, we're buying Bitcoin. We're buying Bitcoin. Alan Gomez says crypto is a scam, crash coming. Personally, I think this idea is thought of universally. that crypto is a scam and it should go to zero. Now, if crypto is a scam and it's going to go down, that'll happen later. But there's a lot of upside. I'm going to bet with Satoshi. I'm going to bet against legacy by betting for crypto. And Wrong Again says, please don't let it be Putin saying we're going to embrace Bitcoin. God, I agree. That guy is not going to go away quietly. That's for the fall. Word has it, he asked the Russian Congress to cancel all treaties with the EU. Wonder why he would do that. REN, currently at 7 cents. The previous fourth is at 15 cents. The most important thing about REN is that REN can sometimes be a leading indicator of the interoperability layer 0 Web3 space. So, you know, if you suffered with REN, you can leave it, or you can start thinking about Polkadot, because the day REN goes up, that's the day when Polkadot goes to 10. Polkadot is going to 10, in my opinion. Somebody's asking about Dusk. I can tell my friends from my old show are back. I remember these coins. A Dusk already taken out its previous fourth. Not only has it taken it out, right, but the old ceiling is now the floor. So somebody wants this. And of course, the destruction is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Right? I mean, the 13 bottom was actually on November 14th. This thing sat there dead, classic crypto winter style, right? Winter is going to be last forever. Winter's coming. No, bro, we've had winter. It's been winter in Dusk since June. Now, this 13 bottom was confirmed last week, right? And now you could have 7 more up weeks. Somebody's like, huge base on the daily chart. Yeah. Right? I mean, this is the daily chart. There's the base. It's done nothing. It's done nothing. You know, did any of these coins have value propositions way back when? Huge value propositions, right? Celer Network. Here comes Celer Network. All right. Resistance at 0.015. Nice rally off the low. Everyone's selling at resistance. Okay, so this is on Coinbase, so this is probably not the complete history. Okay, so not a lot of history here. Let's go to intraday. No, not a lot of liquidity either. Okay, so on Kraken, 0.017, 0.019. I think when it comes to this, the point is not every altcoin is created equal. Not every altcoin is going to survive, but you don't know if your altcoin is good or not. You don't have the previous fourth thing here to lean on. You have a DeMark point at 0.015. So I don't have the chart signals on this one, but that doesn't mean giving up now. Everyone is selling at resistance. Everybody was very brave in buying right before FTX, and everybody is very chicken. They were cowboys above it and chickens below it. I mean, it can happen. Okay. How about a legacy bear rally story? Okay, how about it? I got one. Fortunately, there's a guy out there named Dennis Gartman. He was the chart guy at Goldman before me, left to form his own newsletter. And, you know, Gartman occasionally gets into headlines for being a reverse indicator. I had to go through a reverse indicator phase in my career. It sucked. So I don't make fun of those guys. There are all these things called inverse Kramer, you know, where they make fun of Jim Cramer. And unfortunately, Dennis Gartman is now, Zero Hedge was picking on him for a long time. Back in the day, Gartman left Goldman to be, you know, an independent newsletter writer, and I was effectively his replacement at Goldman. Now, this doesn't look like much in the grand scheme of things, but this was coming off the lows. So this is March. No, this is not the right year. Coming off the lows, the only thing anybody wanted to talk about in 2008 was the continuation of the apocalypse. That's all anybody wanted to talk about. You couldn't get anybody to talk about anything except the fact that the world was coming to an end. No one was ever going to touch real estate again. And I remember this. So Gartman was writing his newsletter. I was writing mine. I had gotten the bear market all the way down. I said it was going down in January. This is January 2009. Okay. Everyone thought the worst was over. I'm like, I still hate it. It went down. Everybody hated me for hating it. Then they started QE, which I did not understand. The market went straight up. And then in June, this happened, where you had like, this thing went like sort of ugly. Let me like zoom in here so it like drives it home. I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 nasty down candles. And we're like, sell every uptick. This is over. This is going back down. This whole rally was shit. And then this thing turned around. And this is when the Fed was just like, oh no, this is never going down again in our lifetime. That decision was made at the Fed, and me and Gartman were not clued in on it. And me and him were so bearish, working independently. We were so bearish right here. And this thing went up so hard in our face, as I learned about QE, that both Gartman and I independently apologized for being bearish. So I got the whole downtrend right. And then when this happened, I apologized. I'm like, I just messed up so bad. And then this thing was gone for years. I mean, this went up all the way until January of 2010 when we had like the Greece scare. And while we're on this subject, this is what I think is happening in Bitcoin, right? Everybody is apocalyptically bearish. Let me just label this. Everyone's apocalyptically bearish. The market goes straight down. I mean, does this not look like what happened with FTX? This down trade. It's just like pick any coin. Like a give up trade is a give up trade. This down move here. This down move here. Just down only. When you start unwinding a give up trade, you see these big green candles. How many big green candles you got on this chart? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 gigantic green God candles up. Where Kramer, to his credit, standing out in front of the stock exchange telling people, don't let these green God candles and the fact that something may be up 20 or 30% off of its low deter you from buying it. Okay, yes, crypto's got 8 or 9 of these God candles in a row. But again, in equities, this rally went on and on and on. This went on for a year. Now, yeah, there was a nasty dip that sucked people in, which is that may happen in March. It can happen, but everyone's too worried about that. Why isn't anybody worried about this? Right? Yeah, okay, Bitcoin's up only. Where's the downtick? Where is it? Bitcoin's still up on the day. Right? Seriously. So I don't want to have to apologize for being bearish. If anything, I learned something at Goldman in 2011. Which I want to say was right here. See, that shit never happened to me again. And I got lucky because I thought it was a bottom, but I called it as a bottom. Like the guy who always helped people catch the tops wrote an article and said, I think this is a bottom. And everybody at Goldman, all the salespeople, FOMO'd in all their institutional clients. And S&P went from 1,100 to 1,260, which in percentage terms is like crypto-ish. Like the amount of gratification you got out of this, like I got promoted off that call. Because that shit that happened to me in 2009 was never happening to me again. And I just let it go. Okay? And again, same thing. They tried to hit this thing again in 2011 in November. Fed wasn't having it. That was like the low followed by several God candles. Now, in this case, there's no Fed to save Bitcoin, but the fact that there's trouble in legacy, the dollar has been challenged. I mean, frankly, I've been talking about this for so long. It's obvious now. It's in mainstream news. Like Saudi Arabia open to discuss non-dollar oil trade settlement. United States can't govern. Can't govern. Okay. By the way, just as a note, if you're watching this on Twitter, I have my own YouTube channel. You are watching this on my YouTube channel, Crypto Noble, or at Crypto Noble, all one word, as they now do it on YouTube. So feel free to come to the channel, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the like button, leave a comment. Want us to cover your coin? Let us know. Right? I discovered that people may be watching this on other platforms. And one guy commented in, to his credit, thank you, I appreciate it. Hey, man, you should start your own channel. I'm like, bro, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, right? I've been in markets for years, but the YouTube channel is new. So Steve J reminding it to hit the like button. Don't fool around with Bitcoin. Don't fool around with this market. Don't fool around with Ethereum. Don't doubt how high this thing can go. If you think it's going down, that's fine. But it could go a lot higher before it goes lower. A lot of people are getting off the train taking profits. Nothing wrong with taking profits. Just leave some on. It's always good to have a little capital to deploy if there's a big dip. Too many people focus on the dip. Too many people focusing on getting out, and not enough focus on the big players, who I think are going to get in. That's the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. We'll see you next time.